Unfiltered, the official Sunderland AFC podcast.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of Unfiltered, the official Sunderland AFC podcast. My name's Frankie Francis and his name is Danny Collins. Hello, Danny.
Hello, Frankie. How are we?
Very well, thank you. Apart from, actually, I did drop a giant tower of Duplo on my toe and it not only cracked the nail, but cut the skin as well. I didn't know it was so deadly.
A couple of weeks out then, pre-season.
Someone who we hope won't be out for a couple of weeks at all during the season because he's quite a big player for us at Sunderland is, of course, Chris Maguire, who we're going to be speaking to in a minute. First of all, have you ever played with Chris anywhere before in your career?
I have, yes. I was at Rotherham with Chris, going back probably 4 years now in the Championship. A good player, technically very good, set plays, delivery. And yeah, as you say, he's shown his quality in the time he's been at Sunderland. I think, chipping him in the goals last season. Hopefully, moving forward this year, he can keep himself fit and carry on where he's left off, really, before lockdown.
Certainly is an important player for Sunderland. And obviously, the manager really sees him as part of his plans as well. We heard from the manager on the last podcast, and it was all about the wage cap, which just came in. And that headline's still not going away, isn't it? It's proven to be a big issue within the EFL, isn't it?
Yes, it has. Again, it's not ideal, especially for Sunderland, one of the biggest spenders in the league. Looking at the recruitment now, they'll have had players in place. Perhaps this is obviously going to affect if they can bring these guys in now in terms of wages. So it's going to be massive, and a massive next sort of 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, Phil mentioned last week he's still looking at bringing another 5 players in. So, they're obviously handicapped now in terms of finances and what they can spend on bringing these players in. So it's got to be interesting. As I say, on top of that, they've obviously got pre-season friendlies to try and get organised, and the season's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to be confirming a couple of those friendlies. Obviously, of course, they're all going to be behind closed doors, and a lot of them maybe even played just at the academy. How important are those friendlies, Danny? I mean, the manager's got a certain system he likes playing, but are those the games where you tinker with the systems, tinker with formations, try different personnel? And how important is it for a player, speaking as an ex-pro, just to get 90 minutes in the legs as well?
Yeah, exactly. You can do all the training, all the bleep tests and all the running in the world, but it's completely different to getting back out there and a proper 11v11. Although, yeah, as you say there, it's going to be behind the closed doors and at the training ground or wherever they play them. But you're just getting those 60 minutes, building up 90 minutes into your legs, and it just gets you prepared and ready for what's to come. Another slog of 50 games plus over the next 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay, we're going to get into the chat with Chris in a second, but there's been a couple of funny results this week, hasn't it? Have you been keeping an eye on the Champions League the last couple of nights?
Yeah, I've watched the majority of the games. Obviously, PSG just sneaking through there with the last 5 minutes on the clock. It looked like they were dead and buried, and they managed to get through. Barcelona, Bayern, absolute crazy game, wasn't it? I did fancy, if I'm honest, Bayern to sneak it really, perhaps a 2 or 3-1, but it was unbelievable watching it. For me, it was quite sad to see. I love watching Barcelona, but Bayern just blew them out of the water. And then obviously the Man City game, fancying City favourites to go in, just didn't get going. I think Pep's obviously tinkered his formation and his players to suit looking after Leon really, where perhaps for me, I'm thinking let Leon worry about you. City obviously the favourites, and they're a tough team to play against. But no, I was disappointed. But yeah, it's thrown up all sorts of results, hasn't it? So interesting to see how it goes now. But obviously strongly fancying Bayern to go on and win it.
Yeah, there's lots of sport on at the moment. The snooker's on as well. Are you a snooker fan, Danny? I've been watching it myself.
I do watch now and then. I wouldn't rush to record it or to throw it on, but it is quite nice and relaxing in the afternoon. Cup of tea, a few biscuits, throw the snooker on the couch for an hour. If Ronnie's on, yeah, certainly I love to watch Ronnie because at the pace he plays the game and the skill level he's got. But if I'm honest, I'm not a full-on regular to the Crucible, Frank, no.
That's all right, we'll let you off. Well, you're here to talk about football, and we're going to speak to one of the first team players in a second, Chris Maguire. You know, I don't know what kind of route we're going to go down with the questioning, but we have taken some fan questions this time for the first time. And I'm happy to report as well, following on from your previous appearance, and apology to a Sunderland fan who was disgruntled at your conversation you had with you in the past. It appears that the online abuse is lessening for you, Danny. You'll be happy to hear.
Oh, is it simmered off, is it? Right, okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Right. Has he had Spanish lessons in the meantime so we can communicate now? But
the explanation and apology was well received, put it that way.
We're all good. Best friends and that now, yeah.
Yeah, by the end of the season, Danny, you're going to get on with everyone, hopefully.
We'll have him on the pod, won't we? Get him on the pod.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Right then, let's go and speak to Sunderland player Chris Maguire now. Hi Chris, how are you doing? First couple of weeks back in training, how's it gone?
Yeah, it's good to get back. Been a long time off, you know, there's obviously the pandemic going on, but I think everybody's been at the same position, everybody's kept fit, and it's good to get back in, see faces and start kicking a ball again. Yeah,
did you have to do the dreaded bleep test?
No, that wasn't on the cards this year. Normally thrown in the first day, but Nick's came up with some other things, and there's been a few tough runs thrown in, but in a whole everybody's come back in good shape, and everybody's obviously during lockdown looked after themselves. Yeah,
you're a father yourself, Chris. Did you get involved in any homeschooling during lockdown, or were you able to focus on your fitness, or how did you occupy your time?
To be fair, the kids were back. They're back in Scotland, so it was left to their mum to do the homeschooling, unfortunately. But no, I was down here alone, just training, going out running and finding places that probably would never have found if lockdown didn't happen about here. In that respect, it was quite nice to get out and see what's actually on your doorstep. The weather was good as well, so for me it was just a case of keeping fit, and I still had a little bit of hope that the season was going to restart, and it was always important to keep the fitness going if it did, and unfortunately it didn't, but for myself it was just to keep ticking over and keep fit.
Well, what were your thoughts on how the season ended then? Because it was such a strange end to the season, wasn't it? And obviously teams voting to end the season, some of which ended up going up. I mean, there was a bit of a dip in form at the time, but did you feel like Sunderland, the team which were around you, had it still in the tank to push on for promotion?
Yeah, I think the whole process of it, the way the EFL dealt with it, I think what they should have done was asked everybody what they wanted to do before they released what they were going to do, because I think everybody in that position who knew they were going to be in the playoffs snapped the hands off straight away, because nothing guaranteed with the 8-9 games left that they were going to make playoffs anyway. So I think they should have done a vote first to see what people wanted to do, and then if it couldn't come to an agreement, then that's when the EFL should have said, right, this is the guidelines we're going down, and this is the way that we're going to end the season basically. It's frustrating because Rotherham went up, they were only 3 points ahead of us, and we had them to play in the last game of the season, which if things went to normal it could have been a real kind of cup final to see who went up between us and them. But I still feel that we had enough in us. Yeah, we had that little bit of a blip, but I think we had that. I feel that we had enough in us to get automatic promotion.
And looking back on the season, then as a concluded season, it was a strange season, wasn't it? Because of the start, we had a change of manager, and then something happened over Christmas where the team just kind of clicked. I think it was the way the game away at Doncaster in particular, and then from that result, you went on to quite a good run. What was it that made the team click in those games?
It's just one of the things. I think obviously Danny can touch on it as well. It's every football team has a blip at some point, and it's not that you're going out to get beat or you just can't. It's just something just doesn't click at the time, and obviously new manager coming in, and people were still getting used to the gaffer and the way he wanted to play and try to implement the things that he was wanting. So I think after that, once everybody kind of knew the roles and the positions and what he wanted to do, I think everybody's seen that it did click, and for us it was a good way, because we went on a good run, and the way we were turning teams over, especially at home, quite early in games, how much we came out the traps and set the tone early for the game. That's the way we wanted to play, and we know if we can keep doing that, then we're a match for anybody, and realistically we should be getting out this division.
Yeah, as you say, Chris, I was going to say, you're right there. I mean, people always look at certain things, don't they, when, say if you go 5 unbeaten, things are going well. No one questions anything. When you're on a bad run of form and results aren't going, and people try to look at everything in particular. Obviously, we'll touch on it early on. There was the incident with yourself and McGeady, who were supposedly spotted at a McDonald's, and if you're on a 10-game unbeaten run, sat at the top of the table, no one questions you being in McDonald's, do they? But because the results weren't going, and said, "Oh, what's he doing in there?" Do you know what I mean? It's crazy how it can work, isn't it? But I think, as you say there, it's hard to put your finger on it, as opposed to why things are going well at a time and why they aren't. It just seems to come when you're winning games of football. You feel like you're going to go out there and you're going to beat anyone who's in front of you, don't you? Whereas when you're 5-6 without a win, you're thinking, where are the next 3 points coming from?
Yeah, totally. Like, as you said, if you were top of the league flying, scored the hat-trick, nobody would care. Like, the thing is that McDonald's thing get blown way out of proportion. You know what it's like on buses. We've had a long trip away for Gillingham. Yeah, I can understand fans weren't happy we lost that game. As players, we weren't happy because, no disrespect, we should be going to places like that and turning teams over. But we're on a 6.5 hour bus journey. The full team stop at a service station. Manager, staff, everybody's there. You get off the coffee shop, McDonald's. Boys have McDonald's, boys have KFC, whatever. But the funny thing is, somebody, whoever it's took the picture, has been flying and decided to take one of me and McGeady, who were just sat, whereas they didn't turn the camera around and show the full liner list that all the players were on. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of the situations where the guys thought, "Oh, I'll just film they two, or I'll take a picture of they two," and that for me, the full thing get blown out of proportion, especially when I didn't even have a McDonald's anyway. I was sat with a coffee, so it makes it even worse.
Yeah, Chris, if you don't mind, looking at your career, you've played for a few clubs, including Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, Derby, Portsmouth, Sheffield Wednesday, Coventry, Rotherham, where I think you played with Danny for a bit, Oxford, Bury and Sunderland. Just where does the Sunderland dressing room rank in those lists of teams you've played for?
It's relative. We've got quite a young squad, to be honest. I think I'm one of the oldest in the squad.
That's because you're old now, mate.
Yeah, I never thought I would see the day that, but there's not very many older experienced pros in the team. Normally I'm used to like being in a dressing room and there's older pros in it and people that have played, no disrespect, like you're sometimes in a dressing room with players that have played in Premier Leagues and higher levels. So at the moment we've got a young squad. It's a hungry squad. It's a squad that's wanting to learn, and I think people just need to grasp the opportunity to realise how big a club we're at Sunderland, and can see, obviously, once we get the fans in that back, that how big it actually is, and it shouldn't be in this league. I've said that for a long time, and when I joined here, I said I wanted to try and bring success and get promoted and push on, and who knows what can happen. But certainly for me, Sunderland don't deserve to be in this league, and hopefully everybody in the team can see that and realise that we're at such a big club, and it's up to us to kind of show that and give the fans what they want. Do
you ever feel a sense of responsibility now that you are one of the older members of the squad with the younger players coming in? Do you ever spend any time working with the younger players who have came in, or speaking to Luke O'Nien, who you play on the right hand side with as well? Do you feel that's a bit of a role that you had to almost just organically undertake because of your age and your experience?
Fair. I kind of keep myself to myself. I'll give feedback out at times. Danny again can touch on it, but when I was coming through as a young boy in the first team, compared to now, the game's totally changed. Like, you can try and help some people, and some people maybe goes in one ear out the other and they don't listen, whereas when you're a younger boy, going back years ago when I was first breaking through, like, to train with the first team and be involved and get a first team player talking to you and feedback, it was a big thing. Do you know what I mean? You were like, oh, you would go home, tell your parents like, such and such was speaking to me today. You would feel like, but I find the modern society football that we're in these days, it's totally different. So for me, I'll give encouragement on the pitch when it's there to be done, but for me, I'll try and just let things go. And obviously, if somebody's needing a bollocking on the pitch or at training, whatever, then I'm sure myself and other people will do it. But for me, I just try and concentrate on my own game and let others do the same.
As you say there, Chris, I think I got a taste of it both, really. For when I was younger, I was still sort of caught with a bit of the old school football in terms of you had to find your feet fast, didn't you? You know, as you said, the senior pros back then, going back 10, 15 years, would let you know it. They give you a good rifling on the training ground if they needed to. In this day and age, I found it, obviously, I'm just retired at the end of last season, but you find that some of the younger lads, they need mollycoddling, don't they? And you have to go a bit careful, if you like, in terms of how you get your point across, because some of them can't quite take it these days. Some of the younger lads, they go on a bit of a sulk. So it has changed, really, hasn't it, over the sort of last 10 years, I'd say. Yeah,
totally. Like you say, especially at Sunderland, the facilities that we've got is ridiculous. Honestly, one of the best I've ever had. But I just remember being in the youth team years ago, and the things that you'd have to do compared to now, it's crazy how much it's changed.
Yeah, with that in mind, would you mind giving it a little bit more of an insight into your squad members and the players in the squad? Have any of them got really bad sense of fashion or anything like that, or really bad taste in music that you want to hang out to dry here on the podcast?
Worst dressed, come on.
Worst dressed, it's got to be Luke and I, for sure. I'm sure there was one point last season we tried to get you know what it's like at football, you try and get a get together and everybody together, and there was some point last season we went out for a lunch in the afternoon. After training, everybody turned up, a few boys giving it a right go as they do. Luke and I turns up late, walks in, and he's got a pair of near enough hot pants on. Some terrible baggy t-shirt, pair of shorts and sliders, and everybody was just looking thinking, what's he come as here? Do you know what I mean? This is going into a restaurant. Everybody else is just sat jeans, t-shirt on, whatever.
Looks like he's been in the school lost property bin, mate, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I think he came in that day and lost his gear and had to rake through the bin. But, it was shocking. Oh. To be fair, I don't think I've ever actually seen him walk into the training ground in a pair of jeans either. So I don't know if he owns a pair.
No.
He might not. He might not. What about music in the dressing room? Do you like music yourself, Chris? What do you listen to? Get you in the mood for, get you up for a big game? Is certain people take control of the music in the dressing room?
To be fair, I like to, in the car on the way in, I'll listen to a few different things depending on what sort of game we've got coming up. But no, in the dressing room, to be fair, it's Ross, the masseuse, Craig Russell, that does he's in charge of the music, and to be fair, he's got some good tunes that pump through the dressing room, so I think all the boys are happy with that, so we'll just leave him to that.
Chris, it says on your Wikipedia page that you were born in Buenos Aires, is that right?
Unless my mum and dad's tell me something, I don't know. That's false, I don't know where that's coming from.
So someone's edited your Wikipedia page then and said that you're born in Buenos Aires. Well, there we go. That's why you should never look on the internet. I just saw it when I was looking through some notes this morning and thought it was quite an odd one. Anyway.
Belsal, I was born not quite Buenos Aires.
Thought you had a chance to go and link up with Messi there, didn't he, for the national squad?
Well, if that's true, I might take that and see if I can play for Argentina. Seems everybody else can manage to get somewhere or another playing for countries.
We've had some fan questions in, Chris. These came from Twitter. We've screened most of them, so don't worry. There's no bad ones in there. But if we take the first one, who's from @LedMatthew, who says, "What do you think about our fans, and in particular when we score a goal at an away game and they end up on the pitch after a goal?"
I think a few of that's been down to me in it, scoring at away games and running at the crowd. But no, I love it. That's they're involved in the passion as much as the players are. It's their club. They want to see the club winning, and the fans away from home are brilliant. Travelling their numbers every week, sell out away everywhere we go, and yeah, they're fantastic. I think, especially the following that we get. Do you know what I mean? I think every other team that we play against away will relish a chance of us coming to their place because they know it's got to be an atmosphere and a big crowd behind one of the goals.
We'll move on to the next one. It comes from @Nicholas Wilson, who says, "Over your career, what have been the best and the worst moment?"
The best, I'd probably have to say getting capped for Scotland. Not many players get the opportunity to represent their country, so for me that was a big moment for myself and my family, especially. Like, played through every youth level, and then to finally get that cap for the national first team squad, which was a great moment for me. The worst moment in my career, signing for Bury.
Yeah.
I've been asked this myself a few times, and you do have to think. And yeah, as you say there, getting your first cap for your country was the same for me. I've mentioned that one myself. Back in 2004, I think I got mine, but I thought he might have gone for obviously losing the playoffs. Might have been a shout this year, but obviously something's gone on at Bury. He wasn't quite happy. Was that just what was happening there, Chris, in terms of just where the club was at that time?
Yeah, as in football moments, Danny, you're probably right. Up there, losing the playoff final was gutting. Do you know what I mean? It's probably one of the lowest I've been after a football match. There's not many times after a football match where, obviously you take it to heart, and when you get beat, it's not nice, and you know what it's like. You go home away for the game, and you're like, oh, get beat again, or well, how do we lose that? But the playoff final and the manner that we lost it was
sickening.
Yeah, that hurt for a while, because we had a great opportunity to go to the championship that season, and that hurt. But going back to the Bury situation, it was just a mess right from the start. Like, shouldn't ever have went. Then when I went there, it was just problem after problem, and it's probably the lowest time in football that I've had. And you know what I'm like, I love playing football and I watch it day in, day out, but when I was there, it wasn't enjoyable. Getting out of the place, and you don't know what's happening. Like I say, I've got 2 young kids, got to support them, but I mean, you don't know when your next wage is coming in because you're not getting paid. But then you get fans try to jump on social media nowadays quick enough to say, oh, well, you don't deserve to get paid because you're not doing it. But that's not how it works, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I've got a family, and you weren't getting paid. Things were going off behind the scenes. It was terrible. Terrible.
So you could see which way the club was going to go when you were there then?
When I was there, I called it. Like, there was half of the boys getting paid, half of the boys weren't. Some boys were getting paid in dribs and drabs. You weren't getting your next pay until, say, we were maybe due to get paid today. It was like 2 weeks into the next month you were getting paid, so you were behind. So it's not great. And then you're expected to go out on a Saturday and perform. Do you know what I mean? You've got other things in the back of your head thinking, well, I'm out here playing really, but you aren't living up to the contract and paying me what I'm supposed to be getting. But I raised issues at the time I was there. Nobody battered an eyelid, and for me, when Sunderland came calling, there was only one place I wanted to go, and it was as far away from Bury as I could get. Yeah.
Well, we're going to give you another fan question now, and maybe this is one of the reasons why you wanted to come to Sunderland. For questions like this, at Martin Wiggum says on Twitter, would you rather fight 1 elephant-sized wasp or 1,000 wasp-sized elephants?
Say that again. Would I rather fight 1 elephant-sized wasp?
Yeah, or 1,000 wasps the size of elephants?
I'll give it a go 1-on-1. When there's that more on you, it's got to be a bit tougher, innit?
Yeah. Good one. Another one here. This was from @JohnnyHunt4 on Twitter, who says, what's the favourite goal you've scored for Sunderland?
Favourite, I think it's got to be the playoff game against Portsmouth, coming off the bench, and I think I was only on a minute, 2 minutes, and the opportunity came, and like most people that know me, and even before the game, I was disappointed not to start. But what my dad I speak to in that as well a lot, and he was saying there'll be an opportunity for you, and something will happen, and that was it. And yeah, it was just the way it went in as well. It was a good strike for myself, and to catch it on the volley, and that was the winning goal over the 2 legs. So that's probably my favourite one.
Was it more enjoyable as well, Chris? Because you seem to be this pantomime villain against Pompey for some reason, don't you? I think, is it Burgess you've had a couple of run-ins with in the games, and there seems to be incidents. Then there was one over by the corner flag, I think, didn't a lad leave one on you by the corner flag and stuff? And there's been a few incidences between you and Portsmouth in those games, isn't there, as well? Obviously, your old club as well.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I was getting some stick from the Portsmouth fans, because my time there, I enjoyed it, and I done well for them. But it's just one of the things. Listen, if people, you know what I'm like, Dan. If people want to give me it, I like to take it, and I always feel that if you give me it, I'll always have the last laugh, and and touch wood, thankfully that's what I've done lately, and that to send them out the playoffs was enjoyable.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of Sunderland fans would agree with you there, Chris. They enjoyed that goal in the playoff semi. One more from the fans. This one's from @NathanGunn13, who asks, do you get ever any stick from the other team lads from being referred to as the King?
No, I don't know where this came from. Just last year, listen, I've been called worse, so thankfully it's nothing bad. So, no, it's obviously somebody's started it and it's just grew arms and legs from there. But I don't take any notice of it. Listen, if that's what some people want to call me, that's fine. But I don't walk out and think anything else of it. Listen, there's been unbelievable players play for Sunderland in the past, and I've still got a long way to go to get to that status. But listen, I'll take it at the moment. But for me, nobody's really. At the start, boys try to give me stick and say, what's going on here, who's done this and that, but just a bit of tongue-in-cheek, to be honest.
So that's it for the fan questions. We're going to look towards the season ahead, I suppose, as well, and some questions now. But Danny, you've got a couple of questions there you want to fire with.
Got a few, yeah. So the first one I'll go with, Chris, is obviously a lot of players set themselves targets before a season. Are you one of these in terms of your position? Do you set yourself a target for, say, goals or assists before the season starts, or do you just see how it goes?
Yeah, normally, like my position, I've always tried to say I aim for 10 goals before Christmas. I think in my position, I think getting to that, it stands you in good stead for the season. I think the season I was at Oxford, I'd done that, like got to 10 just before Christmas and finished on 17. So it's good to hit the targets early. So if I hit them early, then I'll try and put new ones out and set myself up before the end of the season. But my target last season was round about to beat 17 anyway. I was on 11, we still had 8-9 games left, and then I was on double figures for assists. So I was on course to doing that last season. Unfortunately, the season came to an end, as we spoke about. But this season, my target will obviously to beat what I scored this season, just the previous one there.
Does that affect, obviously, positions-wise and formation? Have you got a preferred position you'd like to play? You know, obviously, if the gaffer goes with 4-3-3, you're usually out on the right-hand side of that front three. Do you prefer playing out there, or do you prefer sort of in the 10 role? You've obviously played up front a few times as well, so where would you choose to play and in what formation?
Yeah, I prefer just right behind a striker if we play that formation. I don't mind playing the right because it gives me a bit of like a free licence as well. I can come inside and the gaffer doesn't really restrict me to playing just straight down the right. He likes the front three kind of changing, or maybe the two wider ones changing over to give opposition problems. But I don't mind it. Like, I feel that I grew into that position on the right and be able to come in off the lines and give defenders difficult, because I'm used to obviously being in the 10 and peeling off people and making space. So no, I enjoy that role, and like you said, I've played up front myself before, but I think nowadays people look for the target man, so I'd best keep me away from that position.
Pick the bits up off him then, eh? Yeah. Get on the penalties and free kicks as well, mate, and you get them targets, won't you?
Oh well, that started last season, so again, hopefully can keep that going this season and get some more penalties and free kicks in there.
Obviously, I mean, it's been mentioned before there in terms of, I wouldn't say regrets and stuff. I mean, how many caps have you got for Scotland? You've got a couple, haven't you? Would you have?
Two, yeah.
Do you think there could have been a few more on there? Was there any fallings out with the national side? Or is it just how it's fell in terms of where you've ended up in your career at the time?
I think probably where I've ended up in the career. You know what it's like yourself. You always tend to find players that play at bigger clubs get the better chance of getting called up. There's been a few times where I've been pulled, and I think the other last season, Jack Ross pulled me and said he had a phone call of Alex McLeish at the time, and he's coming down to watch me because there was a chance of me getting called up, and typically Alex got the sack, so that didn't happen. But no, listen, I've always said that I'd love to get back involved with the national squad. It's something that I've not gave up hope on. I'm at a big club now. I'd like to think that people are sitting taking note, especially when they came down last year and watched games. I felt that I'd done well enough to be maybe called up into the camp sometimes, especially when you look and you see boys that are getting called up that are playing in Scotland, and it's not the same in Scotland anymore. Do you know what I mean? And things like that kind of, I look at and I think that it's annoying to see certain players get called up, and you're like, I'm down here in England playing for a big club, scoring goals in England, this, that, and the other, and you still can't get a call up. So it is frustrating. But listen, it's first and foremost for me, it's Sunderland, and if that happens, then it's a great added bonus. But if not, then my main objective is to get Sunderland doing well.
Yeah, got you. I'll finish on this last one on the questions here, mate. So, would you prefer to score the winning goal in a derby against Newcastle, or the winning goal to seal promotion from League One this season?
Oh, tough one. That is a tough one.
I think the Sunderland fans would love to see you in a derby, Chris.
Oh, I'd love to see myself in a derby.
Corner flags out.
I don't know if I'd be able to go anywhere after the derby if I scored that. No, for me, I think I'll take the limelight and scoring the goal against the derby, and I'd let somebody else score the winner to get promoted.
Yeah.
Good answer, Chris. Good answer. Looking at the season ahead, then, as the gaffer sat you down yet and said, we're going to try and win the league this next season, and with that in mind as well, who do you see as your closest rivals? Obviously, a couple of strong sides coming down from the Championship as well.
No, we've not had that chat yet. It's just been hard work, hard graft, trying to get the fitness in at the moment. I think the games are starting maybe next week. We're having a few friendlies organised, and we'll take it from there. But I'm sure this week we'll start to try and get the shape and the way he wants to play in that on the pitch and practice on there. So yeah, but listen, our main objective, I think, before the gaffer drums it into us anyway, as players, is this season we've got to win the league. There's no question about it. This is the third year in League One, and I've been here from the start, and it's not where we want to be. We want to be promoted and get to the Championship. I think especially as well, with what's coming into place now with salary caps, etc., then it's important for Sunderland to get out of this league as quick as possible.
Chrissy, just touching on that, Chrissy, there. So the gaffers obviously have brought two in. He's brought Aidan O'Brien's come in. Obviously Bailey Wright's joined again. He mentioned on the pod last week, the gaffer, that he still thinks he needs another 5 signings. How do you see the squad yourself personally at the minute? Do you think he does need another 5, or do you think there's a good core there with maybe a tinker here and there just to add to it? Yeah,
I think looking at it now, the squad is a little bit bare in certain positions. I think we do need a few players in, because at the moment we've got a few young boys training with the first team at the moment. So yeah, I think there's certain places where we need to bring players in, and that can only help. So whether we can or not, or what's going on with this, obviously the salary cap, etc., that's been brought in now, it's going to be difficult. But yeah, we need players. But listen, we've still got a good squad between us, and the players that we've got there, you probably go through and ask out anybody in the team, do you fancy your chances to go up this year? And I think everybody would back it. But we know third year in League One, this is a year we've got to get out of it.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the 12th man, if you like, about being at Sunderland is the fans, and unfortunately they won't be able to see the team in action for a little while yet, and we still don't know any more details other than that. How much of a difference do they make at Sunderland, and have you got a message for them, because you're going to be playing in front of them for a while?
Yeah, they make a huge difference, and we know obviously their frustrations over the years. It's been a bad luck story and hurt and damage to their club that they're saying, and we feel that as well on the pitch. We're not out there to make it worse. We out there as players, we want to have the success and have the good times with the fans. So at the moment, yeah, it's tough. They're not going to be there to watch us when the games start back, but when things start to slowly come back and we get them back in, I'm hoping that they just stick by us and just give us the backing that they have done. I'm not saying they've not, they've gave us it, but just this year we're hoping that they just stick by us. Even if we're having a little bit of a blip, just get behind the team, because at the end of the day it can only help the team. The certain players maybe can't deal with obviously the criticism, and the team and the fans start, like, you can maybe see that yourself. I see it with certain players that they go under with the crowd, but just get behind the team, because we're out there trying to do what's best for Sunderland, and we want promoted as much as they do. But if they just come back, when we can get them back and just show that real passion and push us towards the line, then I'm sure we'll have a good season.
Well said, Chris, well said. Now, I don't know if you know this, Chris, but during lockdown, our very own Danny Collins was a bit of a quiz master on the old family Zooms.
A few fancy dress outfits as well, I've seen.
Well, that sounds like a story in itself. Danny, do you want to reveal what he's getting at there?
Not a clue what he's going on about there, no. We'll crack on with this quiz, shall we, Frank?
Yeah, so Danny's prepared a couple of questions, general knowledge questions, Chris, in the spirit of lockdown. Danny, take it away.
I just thought we'd fire a few questions in, Chris. You see where the brains are in the squad. So we've got 5 for you here, general knowledge. So question number 1 is, in inches, how high is a table tennis net?
Now, I know there's a table tennis table at the academy, I think, which I think the players are quite fond of. So you've got a good chance
player,
of this.
Chris, or?
Yeah, I get a little bit of a bash. Yeah. Not really get the measuring tape out to check the net though. I'll go for 5.
Oh, crossbar, it's 6 inches. 6 inches tall.
Good effort there.
Right, question number 2. What is the name of the character played by Michael J. Fox in the Back to the Future movies?
Again, you've caught me there because I don't watch your films.
Not seen him?
Totally out here.
No, Marty McFly. No?
Yeah, I've heard it, yeah. if I thought about it properly, I would have.
Have you got a favourite film, Chris, or do you know, not into films anymore? A box set kind of man?
Yeah, I like series. I'm into like series and stuff like that, yeah. But I do love a good film, do you know what I mean? It's hard to pick a favourite nowadays, but that's all I watch Netflix at the moment.
Put that in the memory bank for next time then. Okay. Question number 3. What object is pictured on a bottle of Corona and it's also the name of the beer when it's translated into English? Do you want that one again, or you?
Yeah.
Right.
What object?
What object is pictured on a bottle of Corona and is also the name of the beer when it's translated into English?
It's a tough one, that, Danny.
I'm trying to think here because I'm not much of a drinker.
It's not usually seen on those energy drinks, mate, is it, what you drink?
Nah. Yeah, I don't really get that on a canny iron brew, to be honest, so I'm trying to think.
Do you want a clue on this one? Do you want a little clue on
give me
this
a little bit.
Little clue. It was actually...
I'm just gutted because during lockdown I actually had a crate of Corona down there, but I don't have it down there anymore.
Where have they gone? You've passed them on to your friend, have you?
I could put them in the garage.
A clue is, you might see the image of yourself advertised for this podcast with it on yesterday.
Crown?
Crown is correct. Crown. That's what Corona means in English. Right.
I was thinking that, but see that, I was getting mixed up with that because normally they call Budweiser the king of beers, don't they?
King of beers, yeah, but Corona's means crown in English, mate, So. Right.
Look at that.
Question number 4. In England, which 2 football stadiums are closest together?
Liverpool, Everton.
Incorrect. It's
what?
Incorrect. That's 0.8 miles, 0.7 miles.
Wait. Nottingham.
Oh, yes, it's Nottingham Forest and Notts County, 0.7 miles.
No, there was a trick one there, yeah.
Jumped in there, didn't he? Jumped in.
Yeah, jumped in too early.
Right, and question 5. Don't know if you're a bit of a chocoholic or not, but here we go. Which is the odd one out here? Is it a Crunchy, a Boost, a Toffee Crisp, or a Curly Whirly? Do you want them again? Which one is
Crunchy.
the odd? What's your reasoning?
There's no caramel in it.
No, the answer is Toffee Crisp. The other 3 are made by Cadbury's and Toffee Crisp is made by Nestle.
He stitched you up there. Like
Yeah, as a stitch up because Crunchy doesn't have... All the rest of them have caramel, I think.
Yeah. Extra point for that
I'll
one.
give him a point for thinking out of the box there. He got 2 out of 5 there, so a steady-ish start. Could have done better, but, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how he stacks up at the end of the season because we've got to do the rest of the squad yet.
Who's the brains? Who's the brains?
Disappointed with myself with that one.
Yeah. Who are you going for, Chris? Who's the brains in the team? Is there a quiz man in the changing rooms there? Or?
Don't know, the quite clever ones, obviously. Couples like Duncan Watmore, he was a brainy guy.
Yeah.
McGeady, he's brainy as well.
Right. So it's all to play for then.
Who's the thickest there?
Oh, there's a few there.
We'll not go there. We'll not name it. We're not naming names. We'll keep it friendly before the season starts. Chris, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. We wish you well for the season ahead. I'm sure all Sunderland fans do. Danny, anything else?
No, cheers, Chrissy. Good luck for the season. I'm sure we'll see you down the stadium and the training ground, and I wish you all the best, mate. Keep fit.
Cheers, no worries. Thanks, guys.
So that was Sunderland player Chris Maguire speaking to ourselves here on the official podcast Unfiltered. The second first team player we've heard from, Danny, in this series of podcasts so far. He speaks very honestly, doesn't he?
He does, Chris. Yeah, I think it doesn't go unnoticed, or everyone sort of knows his character. He's honest with how he speaks, and just looking at the questions, what he's answered there, he's answered them honestly. Obviously talking about his time at Bury and one or two other things, setting himself his targets and what he's looking forward to moving forward with Sunderland next season. And obviously his number one aim is to get us promoted out of League One back to the Championship. So, no, I thought it was a good catch up with him. He obviously needs to work on his general knowledge quiz questions a little bit, but we wish him all the best for the season going forward.
That's right, because it tends to be, if he has a good game, Sunderland have a good game, don't they?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I think there was a period, perhaps around Christmas, where he found himself sort of out the side, coming off the bench for 20 minutes, half an hour. It wasn't quite happening, but as you say, when Chris Maguire's on his game, it seems to make us tick. You get him on the ball, in and around the box, and he makes things happen at this level. And if we can keep him fit now, get his confidence up, get him playing well, and I'm sure he'll be a handful next season.
Yeah, absolutely. We wish him well in the season ahead. And who knows who we're going to be speaking to next, Danny? Because we just get thrown these things, don't we? Yeah. And we don't know who we're going to be.
We'll deal with them,
from
won't we?
Week to week. Yeah, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. We just need you guys, the listeners, to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to the official Sunderland podcast, and get in touch if you want to suggest who you want to speak to. Danny, we're going to say something there?
No, just saying some good questions come in there for us to throw at Chris, I thought. Keep the questions coming, and we'll speak to you in the future.
Absolutely. Right, we'll speak to you next time.